I recently made a video talking about the current state of Spider-Man comics, where they're at, where I think they're going, and a big problem I see with them, and that kind of reinvigorated me to talk a little bit more about this character. So today I wanted to take a look at Insomniac's Spider-Man 2, the actual sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man, and take a look at 5 different symbiote-based suits I would love to see in this game, because the symbiote, along with Venom, are looking to be a main key factor in this game going forward. That's something Insomniac has talked about and we've seen, and I think it's really exciting, so I wanted to kind of do a wish list here. I might do more again in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Real quick before we start, I did want to point attention to a couple of things that I don't think a lot of people know about. One of them is DegenerateJ.com, which is also EnchantedGlamour.com. This is pretty much our merch store. My wonderful wife Jill runs this, and she has been making really awesome one-of-a-kind comic book resin pieces. We actually go to stores, we get the comic books that are already damaged that they're going to throw out. They're basically going to end up in a landfill at worst. At best, they get recycled, but usually they actually don't, believe it or not. So that really sucks, especially because of some of the inks in them. So instead, Jill turns them into wonderful, one-of-a-kind art pieces that stay around pretty much as long as we will. These are encased in resin, and they include a lot of characters that you might know and love, because we are saving these comic books from actually just going into a landfill. So I hope you'll check that out. She also does very, very awesome jewelry that I think is really cool and high quality, and she does take commissions for work. And also Jill has started her own channel, Magical Jill, where she's doing all kinds of different content. If you're a fan of superheroes, she's doing stuff with Sailor Moon, she's reviewing toys, and she's starting to do content with Pokemon as well. And that's going to be where a lot of our Pokemon content is. I actually work with her on that channel, and honestly, I really love it. So I hope you'll check those things out, but let's hop right into the video.
Number 5.
The first one I wanted to take a look at is the Ultimate Spider-Man Symbiote suit. Now, one thing I love about this suit is it does have some different hues of color to it than a lot of them have. This suit is much more purple or lavender than most symbiote suits. It's pretty much black, but it has hints of purple and hints of lavender, especially in different lights, that I think work really, really well with the suit and make it stand out from the classic variant of the symbiote suit that we all know from the original appearance in Secret Wars, and of course a lot of time in the comics around that era of the symbiote after Battle World and Secret Wars and all of that. Now, one thing I really, really like about this suit is just its uniqueness, and while it is a lot slimmer looking, especially because the Spider-Man who normally wears it is a lot younger than the Spider-Man that we usually see, I do think you can kind of recreate that slim look a little bit while also matching it to the physique of the Insomniac Spider-Man to make it work, and of course have the massive pronounced white spider, very, very large, along with the purple lavender accents. This suit is interesting. I know that you're not going to have mechanics probably with this, but one thing I always thought was interesting about this suit is that when Spider-Man actually uses it, he very quickly loses control of the suit when he becomes emotional, and it pretty much takes over his body, which is why he gets rid of it very, very quickly. It's a very interesting take on the symbiote suit that was actually developed by Peter Parker and Eddie Brock's fathers, and of course ties in a lot to the Ultimate Spider-Man comics run early on in the 30s, I believe, and later on near the end of the run of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Number 4. It's the 4th one.
4.
Next up, I wanted to throw in a bit of a wild card here, because I don't think every symbiote suit needs to necessarily be Peter, nor does it necessarily need to be black. And of course, one that I'm looking at today is the Earth X Venom. This is May Parker. You may know her in the more normal continuities as Spider-Girl. She's a really, really awesome character, but in this universe, in the universe of Earth X, she actually becomes Venom. She bonds with the symbiote. And of course, I know some people are going to say, well, that's not Peter. You can't do that. That's May Parker. And I understand what you're saying, but I do think you can adapt different symbiote suits to actually match and work with Spider-Man, because you can add that sort of uniqueness and flair to your game. That's what creativity is all about. You don't see every single Arkham suit with Batman always having to be the Bruce Wayne Batman. You also see things like Azrael, of course. So because of that, I do think you could do something really interesting with this, and actually a video game already did, which was back on the PlayStation 1, Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, is what I've been showing some footage of here too, that actually adapted the Earth X suit to match Peter Parker and work with him. So that's the kind of thing I'd love to see, because there's a lot of reasons I actually would think this suit would fit in and add to the variety of the game. Recently, I was actually reading a very interesting special issue with this character, which I thought was really awesome. And that was, of course, published in 2000. Near the end of the year, this was Universe X Spidey #1. And I thought this was a really, really cool issue that actually showed off this suit very, very well and got into a lot of the story around this version of May Parker. It's a suit I would love to see adapted to the Marvel Spider-Man, and now maybe 20 years down the line, we will be playing as May Parker, I don't know. But I don't really think we will, who knows, maybe, I would love to see it. But in the meantime, I'd love to see a version of this kind of moved over and adapted for Peter Parker, especially since the symbiote is going to be a big part of this game. And we did already see it before, so it's not like it isn't doable or somehow is sacrilegious to give him the suit. It's such a unique symbiote that I would just love to see it actually on the screen and be able to play as this character in a more modern game.
Number three.
The Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, black suit Spider-Man. I love this suit. Honestly, I know that this movie gets a lot of crap. I think it's viewed a lot more favorably now than it was on its release, but the symbiote suit in this is really cool, I think. Now, I know that it could have been much more comic accurate and probably looked really, really awesome on screen, but I'm actually happy with what we got just because it's so different. There aren't a lot of symbiote suits. They're pretty much just the same suit, just a little sleeker and in black. This is pretty much that standard Raimi suit, but like I said, just all black. I really think it's awesome, and honestly, I'd love to see it come to life on the screen of a video game in more modern times. It was actually adapted to the Amazing Spider-Man game back on the Xbox 360, PS3, Wii U, etc., but it would be really, really cool to see the Insomniac Spider-Man actually swing around wearing this, and plus, think about the memes. People would be making videos of this suit, they'd be wearing the suit, playing clips of emo Toby, the Bully Maguire, the angry Spider-Man version of this character from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. It would just be a fun time. And you know what? Because they did include the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man Raimi suit in the original Marvel Spider-Man in a post-launch update through DLC, I do think that it's very plausible to see this suit. I do think it's actually a very popular suit because despite this movie getting a lot of crap, it was a very mainstream appeal movie that people like, and as well, with No Way Home having happened, there is a renewed interest in the Tobey Maguire version of Spider-Man. There is also a renewed interest in Andrew Garfield, and of course he does have a bit of a symbiote suit himself, believe it or not, that we are going to take a look at probably in a future video. Assuming you guys actually watch this and like it and don't think it's terrible.
Number two, the numero dos.
Next up is another symbiote that isn't actually Spider-Man, but does look quite a bit like him, even having the same body type a lot of the time, and that's the Pat Mulligan Toxin. Can I first say this character was really, really, really awesome. There was a whole storyline with Venom versus Carnage, where this character was pretty much born, and then Toxin had his own run of comics. It didn't last super long, but it was super cool. And this was pretty much a police officer who became a vigilante who was able to keep in check a very, very terrifying symbiote. This was the son of Carnage. And even though he was really screwed up, the Toxin symbiote also did come to want the same sort of justice in a lot of ways that Pat did as well. This suit is really unique because it's pretty much a combination of several things. Classic black suit Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage all sort of mixed into one. Now, the variant of this suit I would want to see is the In Control variant, when Pat becomes emotional or sometimes gets involved in more, I would say, out-of-hand fights. This suit does sport a mouth and tongue like a more classic symbiote, but the version that I think would fit with Peter Parker and actually being a skin in the game is the In Control version of the Toxin symbiote. It's very unique, but it's not so different that it would be hard to animate into the game. The most unique part of it being the more sharp talon hands, which I think you definitely could scale down a little bit for the sake of simplicity in a video game. And I've always thought this character needs more recognition. Believe it or not, I think that one of the cool things about the original Marvel Spider-Man is that it actually got people to look up and see where different suits came from. Like, oh, wow, I think this is a really awesome suit. Where'd this come from? then it would point them back towards sort of like an issue or an era of Spider-Man comics where they go back and check it out and actually be interested in that character. And I will say, for my own self-serving purposes, yes, I do like this suit a lot, but secretly I also want Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to draw some attention to a character like this who's much more niche and actually see him come back, because he was unceremoniously killed off in the comics. It was really stupid. It still pisses me off, and he was pretty much killed off page. It's pretty much like they killed Toxin between issues, and then it's like, oh well, I guess Pat's dead, let's move on from him. And it sucks because this was such an interesting character to explore, and it is looking like he's going to appear in the Venom verse, or whatever Sony wants to call their Venom universe, which is very much a mixed bag of fun and terrible. But I'd really like to see him appear in something that's actually really good, not terrible but good, terrible but fun. So to actually see you be able to play as this suit in Marvel's Spider-Man and see sort of an adaptation of that for Peter, even if Insomniac wants to put a little bit of their own Insomniac spin on it, I think would be something really welcome for the sake of, being different, of actually having a suit that's not just the standard black symbiote suit, but something that is still a symbiote.
Number 1!
Splat.
And in the last one, I have everyone's favorite sleeper hit that got canceled far too early, and that is Spectacular Spider-Man. No, not the one of many, many, many different printings of comics and volumes. I am talking about the show. This show was really, really awesome, and it did have its own unique spin on the symbiote suit, which started out in a more classic Raimi look, and then of course eventually devolved into more of a Savage version looking, messy kind of suit, akin, I guess I would say, to the original appearance, but more spidery. I don't know, like he has more bug-shaped eyes. They get a lot more narrow as he sort of devolves with the suit and starts to become one with it a little bit more and match with it. And I think it would be really neat to see this because yes, it does have sort of those classic colors, just black and white, but the spider on it I think is very, very unique. And of course as well, I think the eye shape of the Spectacular Spider-Man suit is unique as well. It really made me sad, I guess, that we didn't get to see that actual Spectacular Spider-Man base suit in the previous game. I know they can only make so many suits, and characters like Spider-Man and Batman have certainly gone through their fair share of them, but I have seen mods and other things add in this suit to the game on PC, and I think it looks really great. Spectacular is one of those shows that is beloved now by the actual community around Spider-Man, or I should say the multiple communities around Spider-Man. People really, really appreciate and like the show. I mean, I went out of my way to buy it on Blu-ray just to make sure I had it forever, and it was such a fun adaptation of the Spider-Man characters. I know that this would not make a Spectacular Spider-Man game, that would not make that a thing, but I still think it would be really fun for fans of Spidey to be able to play around in a variant of that Spectacular suit. And I do also want to mention that the reason this was at number 1 on this list is because it was one of the suits I saw most requested for the original game was the base version of the Spectacular Spider-Man suit. Now, I do also know that there are variants of this suit, and if you put in the very first one, it would just pretty much look like Raimi. That's why I really wanted to opt for that final evolution of that symbiote suit in Spectacular Spider-Man to actually see one that stands out and is different. Because you can have multiple black and white symbiote suits, and they can also look different, but that's also why I mixed in things like Toxin, Earth X Venom, and others, and I do have another list of these suits I'd like to make in the near future if you're interested. So if you're interested in that video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of ways to help support the channel that mean the world to me, including memberships actually that are up now, where you get access to a lot of different exclusive stuff that is detailed down there under the join button. If you want to click that, check it out. It doesn't make you join, but you can click the join button, just see what it offers, and if you're interested, you can join, and if you're not, you don't have to. But that's there to help as well. And we do have a secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, where we play through all kinds of games together and have a fun time. That is in the links down below in our description. We actually played through Miles Morales Spider-Man over there, and we plan to play more Spidey games in the future, so yay! Join us over there. We appreciate you very much. Have a fantastic day, and as always everyone, stay shway.